So, EVs, we like talking about them a lot here on the motoringchronicle.com. And when it comes to the infrastructure in place for EVs in the United Kingdom, it's something that I am regularly very critical of. If you don't have the infrastructure there, you can't expect people to want to buy the cars because there's not the support there, basically. You can make them as cheap as you want with all the incentives, but it's still not going to be high enough. And I think that's one of the biggest factors behind the car companies such as Ford actually falling short of their ZEV mandate, their zero emissions mandate targets, and therefore a big fine is potentially coming their way. Of course, they're going to discuss this in February, that's been revealed. But in the meantime, let's have a look at the changes that have been in place, that were coming into place for the charging network in the UK, because 2024 was the biggest year when it came to the number of these chargers actually being installed across the United Kingdom, according to ZapMap. So let's have a look at what's been said here, guys. Full article on the motoringchronicle.com as always. ZapMap, the UK's leading charge point mapping service, has published a new year at the end of year figures for 2024 when it comes to EV charging points installations. The figures show another year of record growth in the number of charge points installed across the UK over the past 12 months, with the highest growth being seen in ultra rapid, which is over 150 kilowatts, devices, chargers, hubs, designed for drivers looking to recharge their vehicles as quickly as possible on longer journeys. Something that is a big downside when it comes to EVs. Even the fastest chargers are a lot slower than refilling a petrol or diesel car, of course, but that gap is shortening. More than 20,000 new charge points were installed throughout the year, bringing the total number across the country to 73,699. Nice. On a year-on-year increase of 38%. The rate of installation of charge points has grown from an average of 1,400 per month to 1,600 per month. I don't know why I phrased it like that. 1,650 per month. That's a better way of looking at it. So when it comes to the year-on-year growth, I mean, ultra rapid is over 83% increase, so it's almost doubled in a year. Total hub locations has increased by over double. So it's doubled in total. So 37 locations in total is massive. Total devices is up nearly 40%, rapid is up nearly 20%, and slow fast is up nearly a third. So it is moving in the right direction for sure. It's got a ways to go, but it's getting better, which is great. Charge point growth was particularly strong in the ultra rapid segment, which saw increases of 84% in installation since the end of 2023. These hubs are being rolled out not only at motorway service areas, but also in varied locations such as retail parks, car parks, and farm shops. And our survey shows that these are proving increasingly popular with EV drivers. There are more than 7,150 kilowatt plus chargers, with a total of more than 14,000 over 50 kilowatt now available, while the number of hubs, 6 or more 50 kilowatt chargers, rose from 264 at the end of 2023 to 537 at the end of 2024. Last month, the National Audit Office said the number of public charge points was on track to meet government targets by 2030. More broadly, ZapMap's charging stats show encouraging growth all across the charging use cases, from the en route chargers referenced above the destination and on-street chargers, with progress being made in addressing regional inequalities. That's the other thing as well. It's all well and good being in a major city or near a major city, but if you're in a remote location like rural Scotland, rural Wales, the east of England, even like Lincolnshire, there's a lot of areas in the UK that are very rural, and therefore it's difficult to get these charging points. My dad has an electric car, like I always tell you guys, and when he went on holiday to Torquay, which is down in the southwest corner of England, he said it was a nightmare trying to find some. I mean, this was a good few years ago. I imagine it's improved now, but it was a nightmare trying to find a charging point because I don't think he had an app like ZapMap to show him where they were. He just had to kind of go by ear because he normally just charges it at home, of course. While the provision of on-street chargers supporting those EV drivers without off-street parking, I should say, has grown by 72%, of these chargers are concentrated in Greater London. So again, if you're in a rural area, you're not going to be doing too great. It's great that it's there in London, but 28% for the rest of the country, that is inequality right there. Standard for the UK, though, let's be honest here. Many other areas such as Coventry and Liverpool also have good local availability. Why Coventry? I mean, good on them, but bit left field. But overall provision at a local level is still variable. With LEVI, local electric vehicle infrastructure, government funded projects starting to come to fruition, there should be more equitable distribution of on-street charging provisions towards the end of 25. Simultaneously, ZapMap's stats show significant progress in the distribution of en-route chargers outside London this year. 9 out of 12 geographical areas of the UK have over 1,000 50 kilowatt plus chargers. The geographical areas of the UK, for you guys that are wondering, are basically like London, Yorkshire, North East, North West. It's areas like that. So big areas, which is good again, but it's quite a, what's the term now? It's quite a macro way to look at it. It's quite a big way to look at it. These regions are huge. You could drive, I know, when everybody says it, they're tiny compared to Australia, Canada, US. I know, but it takes a long time to travel around the UK. You could easily travel north in some of these regions for 3 hours and still be in the same region, for example, which is coming up to the full charge for a EV in a lot of cases. So that's a big amount, to be fair. Wales and the Northwest continue to be less well covered, although they have made good progress over the course of 24, while the pace of installations in Northern Ireland continues to lag. ZapMap's new charging stats come alongside news from the Society of Motor and Manufacturers and Traders confirming record sales of new pure electric cars in 24. More than 380,000 pure electric cars were sold in the UK last year, more than 19% of all new cars sold in the year. This brings the total number of pure electric cars on the UK roads to 1.3 million, which is up from just under 1 million at the end of 23, representing 39% growth in the park. But it's still not enough to meet the targets. It's crazy, isn't it? But yeah, there's some more quotes and stats at the bottom of the article there, guys. If you do wish to hop over to the motoringchronicle.com's website, it's rather nice if I don't say myself. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting stats at the end of the day. The infrastructure's getting better, but you have to think that it's going with the, the rate of growth of the EV market has to be either less or around the same as what the charging installations are. And in fairness, going off of those stats, it is. But you're also getting different kinds of cars now, and in terms of the charge overall, how much it can hold. So those ultra fast ones are the only ones that are really going to be viable in the long term. I would say they'll become more and more obsolete, will the older ones over time, because you'll get cars that can store far more battery energy and it'll take them like hours to fully charge, and you don't want to set off without a full charge. I mean, I'm sure you will do sometimes, but on the whole, if you're in an EV, I imagine you want to charge it completely. It's like putting your phone on charge. You want to get it to 100% before you take that bad boy off. So, it's just the way these things are. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below, guys. If you're an EV owner, are things getting better? Are you noticing much of a difference in your area? If you're in a rural area and you own an EV, I really want to hear from you. I've seen a few people comment that have said they live in a rural part of the country and they've got an EV, and their experiences have been rather varied, but I guess it depends where you live. But yeah, thoughts in the comments below, guys. Like, share, comment, subscribe, ring the bell as well, and we'll see you very soon. Have a good one.